Good night. Have one done tonight. God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Armin J. Spiritual Divine. I'm here to give you a word on tonight. And I'll put my other eyes on. And the title gonna be Samson with Supernatural Power, who married an outsider. You know. So this story is about this woman who is childless, but will have a son. And she gonna name him Samson. Now who will have supernatural power, who will be over the Israelite. So create God gonna create this child to grow up to have supernatural power. You know. So Naomi has a wife who was who was childless. So she never had children before. She never had children. But an angel of the Lord will appear to her and say, "You are childless, but you are going to conceive a son." And when you conceive this son, you cannot drink no wine. Now, this angel giving her instruction how to take care of this child. You cannot drink no wine. You can't drink no infirmity drink. You cannot eat anything that's unclean, and also you can't have no razor on. You can't use no razor on his hair. I mean, he cannot cut his hair at all. His hair gonna have to grow long and it's gonna have to stay long because his power gonna be in his hair. Now, we all have power in different areas. Some of us have power in our eyes. Some of us have power in different areas. His power come from his hair. His hair have to stay long. So the boy is to be Zariah, that's set apart to God from birth, and he will begin deliverance of Israel from the hand of the Philistine. So God created this boy that he gonna grow up. Now he gonna be the deliverance of Israel from the hands of the Philistine. Because the Israelite, they're always calling God. Somebody always oppressing them. So the Philistine is oppressing the Israelite. So God told him, I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna help you. You know, so he creating this boy to have supernatural power. You know, to uh to protect the Israelite. You know, and so Samson will be given immune strength to aim him against the enemies and allow him to perform supernatural power. Now he gonna be the strongest man ever. They're gonna wonder how he get his strength. Down the line, they're gonna wonder how he get his strength. So now remember, this angel talked to Mary wife, talked to the wife, but he wasn't there. So she came home and told him everything that this angel said. Now he asked her, what the angel name? She was like, she don't know. So he was like, let's go back out there. He needs to go back out there because he needs to know this angel name. He also needs, because she told him about the instruction about the baby. So he needs to hear all this here. So Samson have long hair. He have long hair, and that's gonna be his power. That was his strength gonna come from his hair. So it's sense of long hair. If his hair get cut, then he will lose his strength. So he already know he's supposed to keep his long hair, but he gonna marry a outside woman that God told him not to, and she gonna seduce him to give him the secret how he got his strength. So now when this angel said all these things to Miriam's wife, but he was not there. So he wants to hear all the stuff that she told to his wife. What is your name? So he asked her, what is your name? You know. So the angel said, follow all these instructions. So now Samson he's not supposed to marry a Philistine woman. But he see a Philistine woman that's pretty and had cheeks to tell his parents, once you find me a wife, I saw one that I liked it. So Samson gonna be the king over Israel because God had created him to be over the Israel and to have that supernatural power to protect them. So he gonna be the Israelite. He gonna deliver them from the hands of the Philistine. You know, but tell his parents. He saw a woman over there that's spread. Gonna tell his parents to find him a wife. You know, so his wife, his parents told him, now God said you can't marry a Philistine woman because you fighting for Israel um over the Philistines. So how can you do that? And that's gonna be the same woman who gonna betray you at the end. Sometimes the people that you love will be the one who gonna betray you. Look what happened to Jesus. You know, Judah had betrayed Jesus, and he was following Jesus for so long. For so long, and that was the one at the end had betrayed Jesus, and just like she gonna do, she at the end she gonna betray Samson. And by her beauty and he loved her so much, he gonna wind up giving her the answer. So Samson went. So Samson went later on. Now he didn't want to listen to his parents. He didn't want to listen to God. So after they left, he went back and got that woman, and he wound up and married her. So God had commanded the Israelite not to intermarry with the nation that surrounded him. And that's the same thing I say. If God have you protecting the Israelite from the Philistine, you know, He don't want you married the Philistine when you supposed to be fighting against them, but He did it anyway. So the Philistine who are oppressing the Israelite at this time, at this time, he married one of the Philistine women. So Samson's supposed to fight for the Israelite over the Philistine, but he got distracted by the Philistine woman who he married and who down the line gonna betray him to cause him his death. So Samson said, "Let me tell you a riddle." Now he's so excited that he has supernatural power. And they all wondering how he got so much power, that he tearing a lion head apart, just tearing a lion with his bare hands, and he just beat down a thousand Philistines, so everybody wanna know how he get where he get all this strength from, so he's so excited he had a supernatural power. So he said, Samson said, "Let me tell you a riddle. And if you can't give me the answer within 7 days," so he giving them 7 days to answer this riddle. He said, "I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 set of clothes." So he said if they can answer that in 7 days, this the things that he gonna give them. Now with Samson long hair, he have power. Now, as long as he got his long hair, he have power. You know, he have power. That's just like us. As long as we keep God in our life, we got power. Just like Paul said. Paul said he have the power of Jesus that was inside of him. We got the power of God and Jesus inside of us. But soon as you disobey that and soon as you let that go, then your power gonna start fading away. Now he already know he's supposed to keep his long hair. His long hair is his power. You know, so Samson killed by 1,000 Philistines, and he killed a lion with his bare hands. But Samson already know he didn't kill with his own strength. The spirit of the Lord came upon him and gave him that strength to tear that lion apart with his bare hands. So he know he didn't do it on his own. The Lord, the spirit of the Lord came upon him to give him that strength to tear that lion apart. Because see, we can't, I don't care how much supernatural power we have, we cannot do anything on our own strength. All our strength come from the Lord. It comes from the Lord. That's just like um inner power that we have. Now the only one have his own power is Jesus. But us, we don't have our own power. We have to call out on the name of Jesus for our power. So God give him the strength, with that long hair to defend the Israelite, for because the Philistine just kept on oppressing the Israelite. Every time I look around, somebody oppressing the Israelite, and God had to come and save him. So God said, I'm gonna create something that gonna be powerful, that gonna be able to protect the Israelite. Samson was the strongest man ever. Now, Samson empowered by God with the supernatural strength in danger to rescue the Israelite from the Philistines. So that's what God created him for this here, for deliverance the Israelite from the Philistines. He created him for this. So Samson telling them, if you can't give me the answer of the riddle, remember, Samson married a Philistine woman. He married a Philistine woman, and he telling the Philistine, if y'all can answer this riddle, I give y'all these clothes. I give you the he gonna give them the things he had named. So the Philistines, they could not answer. They could not answer the riddle. So guess what they did? They're gonna get his wife, and for his wife to entice him. To give her the answer so she could get an answer to them. Because see, they're all wondering how he get his strength. How he can beat 1,000 Philistines. How he can just tear a lion and have just kill a lion with his bare hand. So they want to know how he got this power. He also got the power of God inside of him. Because God favored Samson. Because God created him to have the power to protect the Israelite. So he got the power of God inside of him to also to use his power to tear these things apart like this here. So Samson telling them, if you could give me the answer, so they could not give him the answer. So they went and got his wife to seduce him to give her the answer so she could give it to them. So Samson told her his strength come from his hair. So it took him too long, for her to seduce him. She didn't give him all the answers. He didn't get all the answers. And if you cut my hair, I would lose my strength. So he wound up and told her everything. If you cut my hair, I would lose all my strength. So Samson is the strongest man there is. And the Philistine wants to know how he get his strength. Where do his strength come from? So the wife portrays Samson that will cost him his life at the end. So just that's why God told him, you fighting against a Philistine. Do not marry a Philistine. You're gonna regret it. So he disobeyed his parents. He disobeyed God. Because the parent also told him, he gonna tell the parent he saw a pretty girl, go get her for that could be my wife. The parent told him no, but God said, do not marry a Philistine, but he wanted to do it anyway. So Samson riddle was hard to figure out. So they used deception, his wife, instead of acting fairly. So they didn't want to play fair, to figure out the riddle. So they threatened, so his wife really didn't want to do it. So they had to threaten her for her to seduce her own husband to give her the answer. So God told him not to marry a Philistine woman, but he did. And she kept on pressing and pressing him until he wind up and give her the secret of his strength. So now he told her everything. And they put Samson to sleep. She put Samson to sleep. She put him on top of her lap. And when he fell to sleep, that's when she had the Philistine come and shed all his hair. Shed the braids he had in his hair. And I mean, the wife put him on. She put him to sleep and put him on top of her lap. And then she went and called the Philistine to come and share all his hair. So she didn't betray her own husband. So Samson asked, could he lean on something? Because he already know they about to kill him. He already know they done cut his hair. He don't have his strength. His strength done left him. So he said, could I lean on something? He need to lean on something to try to fight him. Because he had to pray. He prays to God, give me strength just for this one more time. Give me strength just for this one more time. Because he know he messed up. he know he messed up because he know God told him not to marry that woman. Now this woman betrayed you. Now you got to pray to God to give you one more strength to beat the Philistine down. So Samson told the Lord, please give me strength just for one more time. To beat down the Philistine. So Samson said, let me die with the Philistine because he know he messed up. He messed up. So he said, just let me die with them because he know they gonna kill him because he ain't got no strength. God, he asked God to give him strength, but God ain't gonna give him too much strength because God gonna allow him to die because he done messed up when God told him not to marry that woman. So God gave him the power to use just for this one more time to beat the Philistine, who caused him his life, you know. So Samson had died, his wife, the one that caused him his death, she put him to sleep and put him on her lap. Then she called the Philistine to come up in and shave his hair. Cut all his weeds and all that stuff off his head. He lost his strength. He had to call for for God. He prays to God to give me strength just for one more time. Just for one more time. So God gave him a strength. God didn't give him too much. He gave him enough to do a little something. It didn't work, because they still beat him down and killed him. So I just want to say, all of us have power. And order for us to keep that power, we have to we have to obey God, and we have to listen to what God said, because if God said to marry that person, don't marry, because see, God knows ahead of us, behind us, on side of us. God eyes is everywhere. God can hear and see everything. So he knows what's good for us and what's not good for us. Because our power come from God. We don't have our own power and our strength. That just like Samson. He could not tear that lion apart. The spirit of the Lord came upon him. Give him the strength to tear that lion up. So he had the supernatural power. That's just like we is spiritual beings, but we don't have our own power and our own strength. Our power come from the Lord. His spirit lies inside of us to give us that power. For us to keep that power, we got to keep God in our life so that power can keep on producing. So God said, that person not right for you, it's not right for you. Because God already knows. Just like God told him, do not marry a Philistine woman. He did it anyway. So he disobeyed his parents, and he disobeyed God. For us to keep our power, we got to keep God in our life. We got to keep His command. This man here, he was lucky. He was the strongest man on earth. He had supernatural. He was the first one to have the supernatural power. You know, and he was so excited that he had the power, so he had to tell them about rhythm. He know they couldn't figure it out. He know they couldn't figure it out. That's why he was playing with them. You know, but he had a pretty wife that seduced said, go seduce him. So he can give you the secret. Because we need to know how he getting his power, how he getting his strength. So sometimes you got to watch what's under you, because sometimes the one that you love will be the one that will betray you, be the one that will lie to you. So she was a pretty woman that he was very attracted to, that he got distracted from. So we all just have to be careful when you're a spiritual being. You have to be careful, because when you're a spiritual being, you're a spiritual being with supernatural power. So a lot of time when you're a spiritual being, you got supernatural power. So sometimes you have to be alone, because God don't want your secret of your power to be among everybody. Because sometimes, a spiritual being, you got that just like me. I can't just tell my family everything that's going on. I try, they start laughing at mine. You tripping, man. So we cannot tell everybody the secret of what we is doing. He told a secret to his wife when he wasn't supposed to tell the secret to his wife. God told you that in secret, that you got to keep that long hair to have your power. You weren't supposed to tell nobody. You know, he told his wife, Not even your wife. When you're a spiritual being, you can't even tell your wife, your children, nobody. That secret is from God. If God give you that secret, that your hair is your power, don't tell nobody else because they will cut your hair. And because everybody don't want to see you with power. They will cut your hair so you will not have power, and that's just what they did. They were so amazed that he had power, and now amazed they were jealous that he had power. So when they found out how he had his power, they couldn't wait to cut his hair off. And so he can lose his power. So I hope y'all enjoyed this word, and remember, we all have different powers in different directions. For us to keep our power, it's a secret that you can't tell everyone because they will try to take your power, your soul, and everything else from you. And that's why a lot of time when you got so much power of you, so much power inside you, sometimes God wants you to be alone. Sometimes He wants you to be alone. Until he find the right one for you. Because see, God will read that man's mind, God will read that man's heart, and He'll know that that's the one for you. So I hope y'all enjoy this word, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Have a blessed night.